Hi everyone, and welcome back. After turning 40 and realising I am probably autistic, I am still months away from getting any official assessment or diagnosis. In the meantime, I am on a journey of self-discovery to help understand things better. In the last video, we talked about the social world and feeling like I'm missing a page. Well, today, we're going to talk about something that is just as constant, and for me, even more physically immediate. The sensory world. If the social world is confusing, the physical world can be painful, exhausting, or just plain too much. I'm talking about sensory sensitivity and the overwhelm that leads to what I now understand were meltdowns. I've started to think of it like I have a sensory battery. Every demanding sight, sound and smell drains it throughout the day. And when it hits zero, that's when I shut down or blow up. So let's get into it. Let's talk about why I can't wear a wedding ring, why I need the constant humming of a fan to sleep, and what happens when my battery runs out. So I'm going to talk a bit about the sensory battle, sound and touch. My sensory issues are like a background hum that's always there, draining that battery bit by bit. Let's start with sound. Since I was a teenager, I have not been able to sleep without the fan on. It's become non-negotiable. It's not about the temperature, it's about the noise. The fan creates a constant, predictable white noise that masks all the unpredictable sounds that would otherwise keep me awake, such as a car door slamming, a dog barking, the house creaking. Without it, my brain latches onto every little sound, and I just can't switch off. And then there's touch. I hate wearing stuff. I never and mean never wear my wedding ring unless it's a truly special occasion. The feeling of it on my finger is a constant distraction. I didn't wear a suit for my own wedding because the feeling of the formal shirt, the tie, the jacket, it would have been all I could think about. I hate the feeling of sun lotion on my skin. It's greasy and it'll bug me for hours. The only accessory I can cope with is my Fitbit, and I think that's because it has a clear regulatory function. The benefit outweighs the sensory annoyance. And then there's some sensory seeking issues and modes of avoiding. It's not a simple case of everything being too much. It's a confusing mix of desperately avoiding some sensations and actively seeking out others, all to try and regulate my system. The fan noise is a great example of seeking. I'm adding a predictable sound to block out the unpredictable ones. But it goes deeper. I'm a lifelong nail biter. I crushed a nail on each hand over 10 years ago, and I never ever let them grow back properly because of the feeling. I still have scars from picking at scratches, and if I get an insect bite, I will pick it until it becomes a bigger wound. It's a harmful compulsion, but it's also my brain seeking a very specific focused sensory feedback it seems to crave. This also connects to a lesser known sense called interoception, sensing what's going on inside your body. Mine is unreliable. I'll often suddenly realise I'm absolutely starving or desperately thirsty, like the signal from my stomach to my brain has a huge delay. This is a big part of my Beige diet. I'm an incredibly picky eater, and trying new foods is a sensory gamble with texture, smell, and taste. When I can't even reliably tell if I'm hungry, sticking to what's safe and predictable isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. And that's something I've tried to work on as I've gotten older, because I do realise my children will be picking up on my dietary habits, and it might not be great for them to be brought up on bird's eye potato waffles and spaghetti. So it is something I can make an effort with, but it's something I'm constantly working on. It has debilitated us sometimes in when it comes to going on a date, for example. There'll only be certain restaurants we can go to, and ones that have chips, pizza, and I'm a massive fan of restaurants that have the self-serve screens because can be specific about what I'm ordering, so I don't have to worry about anything extra being added. So McDonald's, for example, you can make sure you don't have the lettuce and mayonnaise and any extra bits on your burgers, which is perfect for me. And big fan of Wetherspoons and ordering on the app. And I'm just getting to the point now where I might be able to get a burger from there and scrape stuff off, but there's some things I just won't go anywhere near just for the fact that it's on my plate. All of this, the sounds, the feelings on my skin, the internal drives, constantly drains that sensory battery. It's not just the physical stuff. Socializing is a sensory marathon. I'm trying to process your words, your tone, your face, the background music, other people's conversations, all at once. It's a huge drain. At work, if there's too much noise, too many people talking, it builds. At home, if the kids are loud and the house is cluttered, which the clutter is a visual noise for me, I can't relax unless things are tidy. I'd rather something was thrown in the bin than left out of place, because the visual chaos feels physically stressful. I need my own space, literally. My wife notes that I'm sometimes unaware when the kids are after my attention because I'm so focused on something else, or I'm just blocking out the sensory input to cope.
I just want peace and quiet.
They've learned to sometimes just give up, which is a horrible thing to realise, but it's a survival mechanism for me. All of this builds up a pressure, like a kettle coming to the boil, and eventually there's the potential for this to cause what some might call a meltdown, where the kettle boils over. And that brings us to one of the more severe things that can happen when my battery is at 0%. It's an outburst, usually for about 30 seconds or no longer. I might shout, throw something harmless, such as a cushion, push a chair, or slam a door. The anger and frustration build up so quickly, and I can't control the need to get it out of my system. It's a physical explosion of all that pent-up sensory and social stress. And here's the thing that people find hard to understand afterwards. I feel calm immediately. It's like the pressure valve has been released. But that calm is almost immediately followed by crushing guilt and shame, especially since I've become a dad. I worry constantly that these outbursts affect my children. Understanding this as a meltdown and not a bad temper is the first step in breaking that cycle. This is something I've worked hard to manage over the years, so it's a lot less frequent, and I'm quite happy with how that's going at the minute. You really don't want your loved ones to see you in that kind of state. It can be scary. This has been a risk to my employment too, and I've walked out of jobs because the build-up has become unbearable. But then, after a meltdown, or even just after a draining day, I need to recover. This is non-negotiable. My wife is amazing with this and helps enable it. After the family has gone to bed, I might need to stay up for a couple of hours on my own, watching YouTube or playing on the Xbox. This is me recharging my sensory battery. The house is quiet, the sensory input is 0. I can just be usually playing a video game, which is another form of focused, predictable sensory input that helps me regulate. It's not just an escape, it's a sensory joy, a way to engage with the world that makes sense on my terms. I also try to control my environment to prevent the build-up. I'm always asking my wife if we can get more storage furniture. For me, out of sight is truly out of mind and allows my brain to relax. My wardrobe is basically a uniform of comfortable football and geek shirts. It's one less sensory decision I have to make. That does cause some issues with the wife, like nothing too serious, but you know, I do like things to be away, clutter, and she might like to leave a bill out, for example, on the table or on the side to remind herself that she needs to deal with that. And I am the kind of person who will tidy that away, put it in a drawer somewhere just to get it out of sight, and then she'll be frustrated because she can't find it when she needs it. That's something we've had to adapt to make the relationship work. So, in conclusion, I think it's about understanding and not thinking of things as quirks. For me, most of my life, I saw these things as quirks. Me being picky, me being OCD about tidiness, me having a short fuse. But understanding them as autistic sensory issues has been revolutionary. It's not that I'm difficult, my nervous system is literally wired differently. The world is louder, brighter, and more intense for me. Knowing this allows me to be kinder to myself, to not feel guilty for needing the fan on, to understand that a meltdown is a sign that I've been pushed too far, and not that I'm a bad person. It explains why, as a kid, I'd hide in my room at family parties, overwhelmed by the noise. It wasn't shyness, it was my battery running dry. If you also find the world too much sometimes, you're not alone. What are your biggest sensory triggers, or your favourite ways to recharge? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Next time, we're going to dive into one of the more positive but equally intense parts of autism, the special interests and focused behaviour. Hopefully, I'll see you for that video.